Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I am doing a tutorial on how to shoot the stars. I am out here at Scott's Head. Sorry about the wind noise, it's very windy. I got the beach behind me. Anyway, let's get right into this tutorial. Okay guys, so I've set up the camera here. Put it more at my face. Cheers. Okay. So the settings are, oh, I just took a photo. My settings are f1.8 at 10 seconds, ISO 1600. Okay, it's a little blue because I got my friend holding a light over here. Now, the thing about Milkyway photography is you can't compensate with different settings. So you can't use you gotta raise the ISO and you gotta lower the shutter speed, which means you need a tripod and a sturdy one. I've got my travel tripod, which isn't the greatest tripod, but it's a tripod, so yeah. And the lens that I have on is a 35mm f1.8 lens. Now, the aperture range is probably the most important part in Milky Way photography because it catches, the wider the aperture is, the more light's gonna go in. But then again, ISO adds light to it, so it lets stars come in more, and then the shutter speed, it picks up the light. Now with Milky Way photography, you need it on a manual focus as well, because there is no focus point in the stars. So what I do is I normally, you might even want to draw on your lens with a marker where the point is to focus. I haven't done that yet. I keep meaning to do that. Or you can just play around with it, and once you get the general spot on it, you'll eventually just be able to find it in a few shots. Like now I can find it pin sharp in a few shots. So let's take a shot. Can you turn off the light for me? So you can't see me at the moment, I'm aware of that. So that is what the photo looks like. Right there. So also, another important thing is to always have a frontal interest in your photo. See, for this tutorial, I'm not actually all that worried about the frontal thing because I'm not actually going to be using these images on Instagram or anything like that. I have gotten a photo here of a tree in front of the stars, which I'll pop up in the video right now. And yeah, so I'll just double check my settings. Yeah, 8 seconds, f1.8, 1600, white balance auto. It is a good idea to put on white balance sunny. Yeah, white balance sunny, even though it's not sunny. To make, so white balance basically just changes the color of the photo in a technical way. Alright, it's sort of turning it into a JPEG it's still a raw file, but it's just turning it into, changing the color of it a little. Well, a lot. So a blue Milky Way looks great. So yeah, another really important thing to remember is to get out. So don't be lazy, right? I am 5 hours away from Sydney City. I don't know where the closest city is. I think it'd be Sydney, wouldn't it? Yeah. So Sydney's 5 hours away. The longest I've ever been away from a city is 9 hours in June in Queensland. And it's so important to get as far out as you can away from the city, because basically pollution and all this crap creates this light pollution and you can't see the stars. Trust me, you would find it so worth it if you went out, far out, and just take photos of the Milky Way that way. Don't be lazy, maybe even camp out for a night and do it, because honestly, I promise you, you'll want to stay out a full night taking photos of the stars. Another really important thing is to buy the widest aperture range lens, but with also the widest focus. So you see, even for me, 35mm isn't that wide, and I find it a little frustrating not being able to get too many things in my image. So I always bring my 24-70 f2.8 whenever I go on an astrophotography shoot as well, because it's 24mm and it's f2.8. It's not as good as f1.8, but you know, if I want to get a wider shot of something, it'll do the job for me. So really, the 35mm f1.8 lens is $200 in Australia. Invest in it. It is a great lens, especially for Milky Way photography. The only thing I would say is it's not too wide. If you want a wider lens, you'd be able to buy one for about, I don't know, $1,000 or something. I really don't know. There might be an 18mm f1.8. I don't know. All I know is I can't afford that. Okay, I'm just gonna cut the video off there for a second. This is future Will. Basically, I've looked at lenses for Milky Way photography that are wider and have a good aperture range, and I've come across this Rokinon 14mm f2.8. Now, f2.8 is really wide aperture, and it's good enough. But if you want to get an f1.8, there is a Samyang 14mm f1.8 for any camera for about I think $900 or $800. Just have a look, because they look like really good lenses. And I'm actually going to be getting the Rokinon 14mm f2.8. Alright, back to past Will. Okay, so we're going to be going 8 seconds, f1.8, 1600, ISO 1600, take the shot. It is a good idea to have, oh shit, I'm close to the mic. Sorry if that was really loud. It is a good idea to have a shutter release so that if you knock the tripod when you're taking the shot, or at least a time on your camera, then it won't affect it. At the moment, I am not bothered with that, because after all, this is a tutorial and I am not worried about the quality of the photos. I will hopefully put the photos that I took during this video in the video itself in editing. Now, this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I taught you something about Milky Way photography. Now, go for a long drive away from your city and shoot some photos of the stars. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.